Every microsecond, somebody in India sends money to somebody else over a system called UPI. A vegetable seller in Bhopal accepting 50 rupees for tomatoes. A college student paying their PG rent in Bangalore. A truck driver buying chai at a dhaba on NH8. A mother in Pune sending pocket money to her son in Delhi. None of them pay a single rupee for the transaction. Not the sender, not the receiver, not a fee, not a charge, not a surcharge. It's just a tick, done, free. In 2026, the system is processing over 25 billion of these transactions every single month. That is more digital payments than the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, Germany and France combined. The largest real-time payment network ever built on earth in the cheapest country to build it. And it's bleeding money quietly every single day from a chain of payers most Indians have never been told about. Watch how the trick actually works. Behind every UPI transaction is a chain of computers nobody at the chai stall is thinking about. The customer scans the QR. Their bank servers verify the account. NPCI, the National Payments Corporation of India, routes the message between the two banks. The merchant's bank credits the account. A fraud detection layer screens the transactions in milliseconds. Reconciliation runs at the end of the day. The app on the phone, PhonePe, Google Pay, Paytm, sits on top of all of it and gives the user a little green tick. Every link in that chain costs money to run. Servers do not run themselves. Engineers do not work for free. Fraud monitoring does not happen by magic. The industry's own internal estimates is that processing a single UPI transaction costs about 2 rupees. Now multiply that 2 rupee by 25 billion transactions. Then by 12 months, the total cost of running UPI in 2026 is somewhere in tens of thousands of crore, and somebody is paying for it. The question is, who is paying? The story of who pays starts in January 2020 with a single line buried in a finance ministry notification. For the first few years after UPI launched in 2016, there was a small fee on it, less than 1%, tiny by global standards. The fee was called MDR, it's merchant discount rate, and it worked the way every payment fee on earth works. Shops pay it, shops build it into the price. Life goes on. Then in January 2020, the government did something that no other country had ever done. It killed the fee. By law, permanently. Zero MDR on UPI transactions. No bank, no app, no payment company could legally charge a single paisa for UPI transaction. Not to the customers, not to the merchant, not to anyone. And the logic was straightforward. If India needs to leapfrog from cash to digital, even a 1% fee at the Kirana shop would slow it down. So the fee was killed. And the bill, the 2 rupee per transaction bill, had to go somewhere else. Where it went is the actual story. There are 3 payers quietly absorbing the cost of every UPI transaction in this country. The first is the banks. Every time money moves between the 2 accounts, the banks involved take a small loss on the processing. They keep doing it because the alternative, that is, refusing UPI transaction, would mean losing the customer to a bank that does not refuse it. So they absorb it quietly across hundreds of billions of transactions in a single year. The losses sits in their balance sheets and nobody talks about them. The second is the app. PhonePe, Google Pay or Paytm. These are not small companies. They have built massive operations, employ thousands of people, runs hundreds of crores of rupees in marketing. They earn nothing on the UPI transaction itself. Their entire business has had to mutate. They now sell loans, insurances, gold, mutual fund, anything they can stack on top of the free payment to generate a revenue line that does not legally exist on the transaction itself. PhonePe's financial service revenue grew more than 200% in the last reported year. The growth is not a bonus. It's the only thing keeping the lights on. The third payer is the government of India itself through an incentive scheme that pays bank a small amount for every low-value UPI transaction. In 2023-2024, the government wrote a check for about 3,900 crore rupees. In 2025-2026, the check dropped to about 430 crores. The 2026-2027 union budget allocated about 2,000 crore rupees. Then comes the uncomfortable number. Industry analysts who have actually done the math estimate that genuinely covering UPI UPI's transaction cost in 2026 would require 8,000 to 10,000 crore rupees a year, maybe more. The check is roughly a quarter of what it needs to be. Banks absorb the rest. Apps cross-subsidize the rest. The system keeps running because everybody in the room has decided for their own reason that walking away costs more than staying. But nobody at the chai stall sees any of this. The tick on the phone screen turns green. The 50 rupees move. The seller hands over the tomatoes. The customer walks away. The trick is invisible. Here is the part to hold on in your head because it explains everything free in modern India. The customer sends the rupee, somebody else pays the cost. It is not free. It has never been free. The word free is just where the cost stops being visible to the person experiencing it. One step up the chain, somebody is bleeding. Two step up the chain, the government is writing a check. Three steps up, an entire industry has rewritten its business model around the absence of the fee that used to exist. Like the Indian Railway video, the passengers pay 51 paisa per kilometer while the actual cost is 99 paisa. The other 48 paisa comes from the coal trains rumbling through the night, charged 3 times what it costs to move, so the sleeper class fare can be a third of what it costs to provide. UPI is the same trick, executed in 2026 instead of 1956. The shape does not change, only the technology does. Now look at where this is going. UPI in 2022 was processing 6 billion transactions in a single month. UPI today processes 25 billion transactions in a month. At current growth, it will cross 50 billion transactions within 2 years. The cost scales with every single transaction. The subsidy is barely keeping up. The payment industry has been quietly lobbying the government for years to bring back a small MDR, but only on large merchants. Something like 0.25 to 0.3% on businesses with annual turnover above 10 crore rupees, while keeping UPI completely free for the street vendors, kiranas and personal payments. Industry math says even a 0.1% MDR on the right transactions would generate roughly $3 billion every single year. Enough to make the whole system sustainable without affecting the chai stall guy at all. The government has so far said no. Every government of every party has said no. The political cost of being seen as the party that introduced a fee on UPI is enormous. Tens of crores of users have built their daily lives around the green tick being free. So everybody keeps absorbing. Bank, the apps, the union budget, each of them taking a slice of an invisible bill, none of them able to walk away without losing more than they save. Look around, the shape repeats. Free Wi-Fi at the railway station, free LPG cylinders for low-income households, free electricity up to a certain limit in some states, free education through government schools, free emergency healthcare in government hospitals, free UPI. Each is a service the user experiences as costless. Each costs a country a very specific amount of money paid through a very specific channel that the user never has to think about. Streaming subscriptions that lose money on every user. Food delivery apps subsidized by venture capitalists that needs an exit. Rideshare prices that do not cover the driver's actual cost. Cheap data plans funded by spectrum auctions and investor patience. In each case, somebody is plugging the gap. Sometimes it's the government, sometimes a foreign investor, sometimes another customer being charged more so that one can be charged less. Sometimes a bank quietly bleeding on its own balance sheet because admitting the loss would be worse than absorbing it. The system always balances somewhere. The only question is where. So next time the tick on the phone turns green and 50 rupees move, take a beat. Behind that tick is a chain of computers, banks, apps and silent subsidies. Somewhere a bank is absorbing a small loss. Somewhere PhonePe is cross-selling a personal loan to make up for it. Somewhere in the union budget there is a line item 2,000 crores that exists so that the tomato seller does not have to think about any of it. That is the bargain India made. Free at the point of use, paid from somewhere else. The genius of it, built the world's largest payment network in under a decade. The fragility of it is that the bill is growing faster than anyone wants to admit. And the lesson after the check is simple. If anything in your life seems too cheap to make sense, the cost has not disappeared. It has just moved one step away from you. Find that step. That is where the truth of the system actually lives. This channel pulls apart everyday systems most people stopped questioning and shows the hidden subsidies that hold them together. If you want to keep seeing those, subscribe. See you in the next one.